It's interesting. I this kind of goes off a little bit on a tangent, but maybe it doesn't. We know that part of this system is includes the extraction of adrenochrome.
Right.
Now we know that with the jabs, the injections, the COVID vaccines, it is being said that at some point, people who have not received the jab, the injection, their blood is going to be some of the most valuable stuff on earth. In other words, it's going to be almost a commodity. And I'm wondering, how does the COVID vaccine play into those who are using the extraction of adrenochrome to maintain this youthful appearance and to do all these things? Are they looking for people who are going to now in the future be referred to as pure bloods because they have not received an injection, or can they survive with this vaccine, or is there something in the vaccine which even enhances the adrenochrome?
Yeah, there's things that enhance it. In that one episode, I break down what are the missing, what's the element. It's actually not missing, it's present in everything. But they're looking for a certain element to combine with, the other elements presence that come in the vaccine. And they're making chemical exchanges. Their goal, what they're setting up with the 5G towers and everything, is they're making a field. A field was, when I was a kid going through the experiments, you would have, I guess, the area wherever the ritual and the energy was being collected, that was called your field. Okay. So the way things are being set up right now with all the towers and everything, they are literally creating a field. All they have to do is hit the switch and all those towers start putting out their frequency and vibration. And what happens is that as all these elements are present and you have the witchcraft going on, it changes I guess we'll say the state of our physical bodies. Like, we're both physical and spiritual.
Right.
But the past centuries, they've made it so that the majority of us, we don't know how to access that spiritual body. We're used to just being present in the physical body. So what we're seeing happening is that a field is being set up where literally they're going to be able to control our state of being and turn us into the spiritual beings that we are in our spiritual form, which will create this mass amount of energy that then they can harvest and tap into. So it's really not about the adreno. Once the adreno is just a partial step towards the final goal. The final goal is that once people are in that spiritual immortal state, white gold, as they called it, once you're a diamond or white gold, they don't need to be in that physical form. They don't have to keep the physical body going, because literally it's reconstituted into the spiritual body. So that's where they believe, it's like they've reached godhood, their God state. But what why I've been pushing people reading the word and studying the kingdom, rights, and authority is because we have authority in Christ Jesus over these things. They have no rights or authority over our physical or our spiritual bodies. But if we're not utilizing our spiritual rights, they're going to get us in a position where, they're just harvesting off of people's spiritual energy, and people don't understand what's happened to them or what's going on. They don't know how to take control of that, and they'll become a slave to that. So that's what we're, working against, is by giving out this information, we're telling people what they need to know so that you can stand against it. It's as simple as rebuking. It's as simple as taking your authority in Christ Jesus. If all of a sudden you feel like you're having this out-of-body experience, you just start praying. You say, okay, Lord, you're sovereign. I believe I have the authority in you. I'm claiming this ground I'm standing on as my spiritual inheritance. I'm not going to let the enemy have it. I'm not going to let him control me or operate, and we just simply start praying, we start praising, and we're able to reverse the effects of those things.
Awesome.
So it's important, but that's what I believe is happening, and it lines up with a lot of other things, like the purple lights, going all about. When I was a kid, they would use those on the dumb basis whenever they would put people, they even have, if you can get the records, they have different states of a person's physical being that they will put them in, and they call those states terrestrial, extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial is when you are literally vibrating at that spiritual frequency where you're in your full spiritual state. And when they would put people into that state, before they went through the spiritual gates for whatever missions they were going through, they would have in the warehouse, wherever the spiritual gate was, they would have those black purple lights. And that was so that they could see the spiritual body of the person. If they didn't have those lights on, they couldn't see the spiritual body, and then they would have no control over, where that person was, where they were going, things like that. So you have to ask, why all of a sudden are all these purple lights appearing in all these towns everywhere?
Yeah.
What's up with that phenomena? It's because they're playing with this, and as they're transforming people, and the goal is not to keep people in a building, in a lab, or in a base. Literally, they're making, mass above ground areas, this field. So they need to be able to see the players on the field.
Wow. lot to absorb.